Hello everyone, and welcome to Shoto Todorokis' Secret Library. In my secret library, I scour wattpad, an archive of our own, to find wonderful stories written by wonderful people. Today's story comes from a wonderful person that goes by the artist name Risingfics on wattpad. The story is called Scars of Our Love. I put a link in the description below so you could follow along while I read, or you could just go on this magical journey with me. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Scars of Our Love. Chapter 4. A Recognizable Feeling. Todorokis' point of view. I was slightly surprised why that one person took my interest. I only intended just to be a hero for my father's sake, and nothing else. Plus, I rarely talk to any people. I tried to push the thoughts to the back of my head as I decided to listen to the teacher, hoping my mind just made a mistake. Everyone is going to start class by introducing themselves. Just get up from your seat and say your name. I want to get this over with so I can go to sleep now. Now let's start with you. Mr. Ozawa pointed to some random student. As more and more students called out their names, I mainly paid attention to the green-haired boy and a bit of the blonde when it was their turns. Katsuki Bakugo, don't fuck with me, he simply said. I have a feeling I'll hate him. I'm Izuku Midorya. It's nice to meet everyone, the boy said awkwardly right after Bakugo. I could tell he is someone who would never fight anyone. So what did he do to Bakugo to make him yell at him earlier? Izuku Midorya. I feel like I should know his name, but I just can't place it. Shortly after, it was my turn. Right before I said my name, Midorya and I glanced to look at each other at the same time, which he darted his eyes immediately. Shoto Todoroki, I said before sitting down, and the other students began introducing themselves. His eyes looked concerned. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense due to my very noticeable scar, and probably dead eyes somehow in an alive body. But there was something else too, which I couldn't piece. Stop thinking so much, I thought to myself. Then the bell rang. Break had already begun. With no plans, I grabbed my bag and booked to go to the cafeteria. Before I headed out, I spotted the green-haired boy talking to Bakugo. Actually, they weren't talking. I saw Midoriya's eye widen, mainly from fear, when Bakugo harshly grabbed his wrist and dragged him out of class. Even if there was an angel or devil on my shoulders, I really wouldn't know who was wrong. But before I could protest, my feet started moving, like they had a mind of their own. Midoriya's point of view. Kachan, let me go. I started out with a quiet voice, hoping he would let go of my wrist, which led to no avail. He kept dragging me into the corner of the dark hall. He shoved me harshly, making me hit my head against the wall. I gasped from the impact. I'm getting real fucking tired of this, Kachan exclaimed, giving me an eye and a chilling glare. But I didn't do anything to... Before I could finish the sentence, Kachan punched the wall right beside my face, making me squeal with fear. Shut your mouth. You wouldn't have done anything if you never came to the school in the first place. That's why you're quirkless. Don't you remember? Kachan spat it out. I'm not quirkless, I said in such a whisper, I'm not even sure if Kachan heard me. I was terribly wrong. He scoffed. Right. Then explain why your soulmate never saw you again. They probably never cared about you. Unless you were lying, of course. Just like your quirk. These words made my eyes widen. Besides my mom, I also told Kachan. He knew that the situation was very sensitive to me. I even remembered him promising to keep it a secret. Before I could protest, I could feel the tears in my eyes started spouting out. My eyesight became blinded by the unwanted tears strolling down my cheeks as I overheard Kachan laughing. Please, leave me alone, I begged, though just saying it to myself. Before Kachan could say or do something else to me, I heard another voice. Leave him alone. The voice sounded rather calm. The fuck? Why do you care about this worthless person? Kachan yelled. He did nothing wrong to you, and it's pretty surprising to pick on someone like that. You must be pretty weak, aren't you? The voice said back. Although my eyesight was still blurry, my ears hearing the conversation made me surprised. Someone was standing up against Kachan. For me. They started to exchange more words until the last I heard from Kachan was with an everyday, "Fuck off," before I heard him stomp away. "Are you alright?" the voice said as it came closer to me. I wiped my eyes to get a clearer view of the boy. There was the boy with the half-red, half-white hair and with the scar. Shoto Todorokis. Maybe jumped slightly whenever I glanced at the scar. It looks rather bad. His eyes were the thing that caught my attention. Instead of looking dull, it had concern and a worried look this time. It looked a lot less intimidating, softer than the first time I saw it. Yeah, thank you. I choked out, trying to stop crying. "Come with me," Todoroki said, and I followed obediently. He took me to the washroom and washed my face, making me calm down a bit more. "Are you feeling a bit better?" he asked. Yeah, I am. Sorry you had to see that," I said, laughing nervously. "It's not your fault. There's nothing to apologize for. Don't listen to what he says. That guy's just making lies," Todoroki replied. "Let's go back to class. It's gonna start any minute now." He continued and walked in the halls where our class led. "Oh, okay," I said a little too loud, though he didn't mind, and I followed him back to class. We eventually made it, and Todoroki sat in his chair, his eyes looking a lot brighter than before. Kachan was staring at the both of us, though neither of us cared, with the thoughts coming across our minds. I was very happy with what he did, a happiness that would bring me joy beyond measure. It was a very recognizable feeling, and a memory crossed when I was a kid, though I pushed it away, for now. Chapter 5. Hope. Todoroki's point of view. After that incident, I felt pretty proud of myself that I was able to help, which actually surprises me. I never actually thought I would talk to anybody unless I actually needed to. I can notice some changes with the choices I made. A big example of being Bakugo. He's getting more pissed off easily when he sees me and Midorya. Oh well, that's his problem. I don't mind about first impressions, but Bakugo seems like one of a kind, and he's just being extra nice by putting that away. Midorya, on the other hand, seems really genuine, and I'm curious to know more about him. I think back to the time when Bakugo was arguing with Midorya in the halls. Before stopping him, I overheard the word soulmates, but nothing in detail. The word itself intrigues me, and using it in their argument just brings me more curiosity. Is it something related about Midorya? I need to stop thinking. It's rude to get into someone else's privacy anyway. The rest of the day passed by smoothly with practicing our quirks and learning. Midorya and I didn't talk to each other for the rest of the day, mainly due to him already hanging out with Uraraka and Ida. I didn't really mind, honestly, but I guess there was a small feeling of being left behind. I could have introduced myself, though I ignored it. What worries me is how I need to go back to my house. Training was the worst part of my day, and I honestly didn't care if I missed it. But I also made the decision to talk to my father about something that's been on my mind for a while now. Before leaving class, I took one last look at Midorya. I wanted to go up and talk to him, and join their group. But I decided to ignore that feeling, and I left anyway. I walked along the trail where the bus is, and arrived at my house a bit earlier than I thought. Well, it looks like I could talk earlier now. I unlocked the door and headed into the living room where I see my sister, Fuyumi. "Hello, Shoto. How was UA?" she greeted. "Hey, Fuyumi. Is father here?" I greeted back and stated shortly, putting the coldness when I was asking about my old man. "He's in the training room waiting for you. You might want to go now, I suppose." "Thanks," I simply said, going to the designated room. For a second, I hesitated. I knew in my gut that this conversation would go badly, but I needed to try. And so I opened the door and headed in and saw my father sitting there, waiting for me. "Ah, Shoto, you're on time," the voice I disliked told me. "I wanted to ask you about something," I directed, and I didn't want to wait for a response. "It's about soulmates." I noticed my father hesitated slightly, and after a couple of silent moments passed, he replied with saying, "I'm sure it doesn't matter right now. You know the topic isn't important or believable. Just because you never found your soulmate doesn't mean it's not real." This is the first time I've ever talked back to him. It felt pretty good. I wanted to know more about them. It's obvious I have a scar, but we always avoided the topic together. I could see my father's eyes darken from irritation. Soulmates are time-wasting, and not everyone finds theirs. It isn't even directed towards your future or being a hero. Now stop this act and we will start our training, he said. You're wasting my time. A few moments passed in silence. This is hopeless, I mumbled. I got up and headed towards the door, making some lousy excuse about starting homework. The last thing I heard from my father was him calling my name before I shut the door behind me. I went to my room and closed the door, making sure it was locked. I changed out of my uniform and into my house clothes before collapsing onto my bed, taking a short nap and whatever dreams I thought of. "Hey, Mom, are soulmates real?" a young, echoey voice said. "Of course they are, honey." "Then why don't you have one?" "I never found mine since I decided to have you. Many people have one, but sometimes they never find them. But many others do." "But then why are soulmates so important?" The mature voice chuckled. "It's like two parts of one whole, of a perfect puzzle piece. They're the ones that are meant for you and make you feel very happy and loved. They're the ones that complete your life or make it even better than it ever was before." The older voice said. "Will I ever find mine?" The younger questioned. "You will, and trust me to never stop believing in them, no matter who tells you they aren't true, or if you don't ever find yours. They're the most special person that you could have, alright?" "Okay, Mom," the young voice concluded in the pitch-black darkness. My eyes opened as I jolted from my bed. That dream, that's all the answers I need now. How could I forget that memory? It was about 9:30, and now I'm wide awake and I don't want to go back to sleep. But that didn't bother me. I now had a newfound motivation about soulmates. And from this, I felt something different. Something that I haven't felt in a while. Hope. Hello everybody, it's your pal Shoto Todorokis again. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you liked it, please show me support and give me a like, or leave a comment and tell me what your favorite part of the story was. I'd like to thank Risingfics for writing an amazing story, and I would like to thank my friend Chris Quintos for supplying the music that you've heard today. There's a link below to Risingfics wattpad. Please go show them support. And I've also supplied a link for Chris Quintos. Show him support and love as well. And as always,